What's going on, everybody? Got another statistics video for you. Percentiles and Box-And-Whisker plots. So we're not going to get too much into percentiles. This is mainly Box-And-Whisker plots. But let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so for whole numbers P, where P is between 1 and 99, the Pth percentile of a distribution is a value such that P% of the data fall at or below it. And 100 minus P% of the data fall at or above it. Alright, so just to explain that real quick, let's just say you've got some numbers. You got some number right here. Doesn't matter what the number is. But let's say that the percentile, let's say this is the, 60%, the 60th percentile. That's the amount of data that fall at or below this number here. And what this means, the amount that falls at or above it is 100 minus P. And that would make sense because 100 minus 60 would be 40. That would be 40%. It has to total 100%. All right, because if you take the data below, the data above, that's all the data. That's 100% of the data. Okay, so if 60% is below, then 40% would have to be above. And the other thing, there's a lot of different. There's several ways for finding percentiles, and they lead to slightly different values for different situations, but the values are close together. But for all the different ways, the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to order the data from smallest to largest. Okay, so that's something in common, and I might do a video later on percentiles and get more detail on it. But the main thing of this section here is the Box-And-Whisker plots. The other thing is we have what we call quartiles, okay, and that's something we're gonna have to find when we're doing these Box-And-Whisker plots, and that's why I'm mentioning these percentiles. The first quartile, which we call Q1, and you can see that right here. The first quartile, Q1, that's the 25th percentile. Okay. The second quartile, which is also called the median, that would be the 50th percentile. And then Q3, okay, Q3, or the third quartile, is the 75th percentile. All right. So basically what we have is if you look at, say if you've got your data here, let's draw this in the middle, got here and here, this would be 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%. We'll break the data up into fourths. This would be Q1, Q2, and Q3. See, this would be your 25th percentile, this would be your 50th and 75th percentile. All right. So how do we find, this is Q1. So how do we find these quartiles? How do we compute quartiles? Well, it's right here. Let's take a look at it. All right, so like I said earlier, order the data from smallest to largest. Then we want to find the median. Okay, and that gives us the second quartile. So we're not going to find the quartiles in order Q1, Q2, Q3. We're going to find the second quartile first, which is the median of all the data values. And at this point in statistics, you should know how to find the median. That was in an earlier video. Yes, I'm going to show you again how to find it. But basically you just find the median of all the data for the second quartile. The first quartile, Q1, is then the median of the lower half of the data. That is, it is the median of the data falling below the Q2 position and not including Q2. So keep that in mind. And I'll explain this more when we're working the example. And then the third quartile, Q3, is the median of the upper half of the data. That is, it is the median of the data falling above the Q2 position and not including Q2. Okay? And then we have the interquartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1. It's the third quartile minus the first quartile. Okay, and the interquartile range, just it tells us the spread of the middle half of the data. Okay, but let's get into some examples. So we've got two examples to work. We've got one example that we're going to work where we're just finding the quartiles and the interquartile range. And then the last example we work, we'll actually draw a Box-And-Whisker plot. But in order to draw a Box-And-Whisker plot, you've got to find the quartiles. So let's just practice this example doing that. All right, so find the quartiles and the interquartile range with the data below. All right, so what do? We find Q2. We're going to find Q1, Q2, which this is the median of the data, and we're going to find Q3. So let's find Q2 first. So it's the median of all the data. So it's the number in the middle. So how many data values do we have? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 3 rows of 8, so that's 24, 25, 26, 27. So we have 27 data values. Now, if you remember from a previous video, I showed you how to find the position of the median. Remember that? We've got n plus 1 over 2, where n is the number of data values. So n is 27. Plus the 1 divided by 2 is 14. So the position of the median is 14. So we got the data ordered from smallest to largest. Now, when you're given this data and you're asked to find the median, your teacher may or may not put the data in order. If they don't put the data in order, then that would be the first thing you need to do. But this one's already in order from smallest to largest. So we're in the 14th position. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that is right here. That's the data value in the middle. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So the median is 0.5. Yes, you can write down 0.50, 0.50, 0.5, same thing. All right. Now, let's find Q1. So what does Q1 say? Q1 is the median of the lower half. So that's all the values before this one. And what did it say? Look at this. And not including Q2. So we're not going to consider this number. All we're doing is looking Let me find a color. Let's see. So all we're doing is looking from here to here, in between these orange lines here. Okay. So we need the median of this. So how many numbers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, we do not include this one. So we've got 13 numbers. So I'm going to do n plus 1 over 2 is 13 plus 1 over 2, which 14 divided by 2 is 7. So our median is in the 7th position. Okay, so let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's the middle position. Okay, so that's the median of the lower half of the data. And so Q1 is 0.33. And then, I don't know if I said Q3 here. If I did, I meant Q1. If I said Q1, then I don't know. I guess I'm going crazy or something. But Q1 is 0.33. Now let's look for Q3, the third quartile. All right, so that's going to be the median of the upper half of data. So that's going to go from, let's see, let me find a color to use. Let's use this one, yellow. That's going to be these values. And you can count from this 0.5 here all the way to 1.23. There's going to be 13, just like in the lower half. So the position of the middle data value is 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the middle value is going to be right here, 1. And so Q3 is going to be 1, or as they have it written, 1.00. It's the same thing. So there's your quartiles. Okay. Now they also want us to find the inner quartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1. And so Q3 minus Q1, that's 1 minus 0.33. And that is going to be 0.67. That's the inner quartile range. All right. And so what we found there is the 0.67, your inner quartile range. These data values, this is a word problem. I just took the data values and said, let's find the quartiles. It's a word problem dealing with ice cream bars and how much they cost. These are the costs of 27 different ice cream bars. And so what this means is that the middle half of the data has a cost spread of 67 cents. Okay, so that's all that means, that the middle half of the data has that. All right, so now let's look at making a box and whisker plot. All right, so before we get to this procedure here on how to make a box and whisker plot, we need to look at this 5-number summary. Okay, that's the 5 things you need to find to make a box and whisker plot. You need the lowest value and the highest value, and then you need the quartiles Q1, the median, or which is Q2, and Q3. So you need Q1, the median, Q3, and the lowest and smallest, the lowest and highest value. That you've got to find those 5 things. And then once you find those 5 things, you can make your box and whisker plot. So let's look and see how to do that. Draw a vertical scale to include the lowest and highest data values. Okay, easy enough there. To the right of the scale, draw a box from Q1 to Q3. Include a solid line through the box at the median level, and then draw vertical lines called whiskers from Q1 to the lowest value and from Q3 to the highest value. All right, so let's do that. And if this did not make sense, these steps here, we're gonna go through these steps and draw a box and whisker plot with this data, and I think that'll help it make more sense. Okay, being able to see how, going step by step and drawing it. So it says many people consider the number of calories in an ice cream bar as important as, if not more important than, the cost. The Consumer Reports article also included the calorie count of the rated ice cream bars. Again, the bars varied in size, and some of the smaller bars had fewer calories. The calorie counts for the vanilla bars are in the table below. Make a box and whisker plot. All right, so we've got these numbers here, and like I said, you're not going to always be given the numbers in order from smallest to largest. I did it here, okay, just so I wouldn't have to rewrite it in order, okay? You should know how to write numbers from smallest to largest, okay? If you don't know how to do that, then you're going to really struggle in statistics. All right, so we've got to find the lowest value. We need Q1. We need the median. That's the median of all the data. Q2, Q3, and the highest value. All right, so let's just knock out the lowest and highest right off the bat. We got the data in order, so there's the lowest value, there's the highest value. Now, let's find the median, okay? So basically what we're doing now is we're finding the quartiles just like we did in this example here. That's all we're doing right now, okay? And what we're doing right now is our 5-number summary, okay? All right, so the median. So how many data values do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 rows. 6 times 3, that's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So we have 22 values. So we've got, let's see, n plus 1 over 2. So that's 22 plus 1 over 2, which that is 23 divided by 2. So 23 divided by 2 is 11.5. So we're going to be falling in between 2 numbers. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 11.5. That is going to be in between these 2 numbers here. That's my 2 middle values. Remember, in the previous video on mean, median, and mode, okay, we found the median when we had an even number of data values and when we had an odd number of data values. So if we have an even number of data values, say we go to the 11.5, that's right here in between these 2 numbers. So we take these 2 numbers to be our middle 2. And so the median is 209 plus 234 over 2. And what do we get for that? I don't know. Let's see. 209 plus 234 divided by 2. And that is equal to 221.5. All right. All right. Now, bear with me on this part. Okay, we found the median. That you should be able to do that. Now, let's look at Q1 and Q3. So let's find Q1 first. Now, do you remember up here where it said when you're finding Q1, it's the median of the lower half of the data. That is, it's the median of the data falling below the Q2 position. And remember this, and not including Q2. And not including Q2. All right. Now, does that mean that the only data values that we are going to be using are from the 201 to here, this number back this way in this top row? Is that what it is? No. Let me get rid of that. We're going to go from here back to the left in this. We're going to use 209 in the lower half of the data. So what did it say? What did it say up there? It says not including Q2. Q2 is 221.5. Q2 is in between these two numbers. You see that? So we use, so this right here is where the 221.5 would go. That's the median. So the lower half is all the values to the left of the median. I'm not including the median by using 209. I just use these two middle values to calculate the median. So when you have an even number of data values and that median falls in between them, you use this value. It's just like up here when you had the odd. See, when we had an odd number, that was your median. So we don't include that. So that's why we started here. Okay? Now, I will say this. I think there's some statistics books out there that would not use this. It would start with the 201 and go back. Okay, that could be a possibility. But I think for the most part, these statistics books, they're going to start with, like I explained to you at first. Okay, just check with your teacher to make sure. Okay, I know when I teach this class, I include this number if the median falls in between them. Okay, all right. So let's see how many data values we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so once again, we got n plus 1 over 2, which is 11 plus 1 over 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6, so it's going to be in the 6th position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this, let's see, this would be your median. And then for the upper half, we're going to start with the 234. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this would be your median for the upper half. So let's write those down. So this is 182 and this is 319. All right. So there's your 5 number summary. That's what we just found. lowest and highest value, Q1, the median, and Q3. Now, let's draw our box and whisker plot. So let's go back up here. Let's go step by step with what it says. Draw a vertical scale to include the lowest and highest data values. All right. So let's draw our scale here. So we got this. And our lowest value is 111. Our highest value is 439. So I'm going to start here at 110. Okay, I'm going to start at 110. And we've got to go all the way up to 439. And I tell you what I think I might do, instead of starting at 410, I think I might just start at 100. And then this next one, let's go up like this, see if we can't get everything in here. Let's go up to 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, and we don't need that. Okay. Now you said, okay, well, you were going to put 110 and then you changed it to 100. It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. You could start at 110 and go up by 50s if you want to. Okay, I just think if you're going to go up by 50s, just go ahead and start at 100. Okay, but if you don't want to do that, start at 110. Go up by 20s if you want to. Go up by 10s. Do increments of 10, increments of 20, increments of 30. Okay, whatever you feel like, just as long as you make sure that your scale is going to take in the lowest and highest value. Okay, so that's what it means there when it says draw a vertical scale to include the lowest and highest data values. All right. Now what does it say? To the right of the scale, draw a box from Q1 to Q3. Okay. Q1 is 182. So 182 is going to be about right in here. Okay. That's going to be, we're going to call that 182. And Q3 is 319, and that's going to be about right in there. And it says to what? Draw a box. This is going to be 319. And what I would suggest to do is when you draw these lines here at Q1 and Q3, label them. Okay? Your teacher's not going to be able to tell what those numbers are. And don't make your teacher look back and forth to this and this. Have everything labeled right here. All right, so we did that. All right, so that's the second step. And then 3, include a solid line through the box at the median level. Okay, so our median is 221. So 221 is going to be about right in here. Include a solid line, or 221.5. 221.5. That's your median. And then, so that's number 3 there. Number 4, draw vertical lines called whiskers from Q1 to the lowest value and from Q3 to the highest value. So the lowest value is 111, which it's about right in there. I'm going to put a little dot there so I'll know, okay, that's where my line's going to stop. See, this is the box, and these are the whiskers. All right, the highest value is 439, which is, let's say about right in there. And there's your box and whisker plot. And we'll call this 439. We'll call this 111. Label it. Okay, doesn't take you but a second to write those numbers down. All right. All right. So that's good and everything. But what good is it drawing that if we don't if we don't really know what we're looking at. So let's just kind of go through this and kind of see what this means, what we have here, if we can kind of interpret the drawing. All right, so we can see that half of the ice cream bars have between 182 and 319 calories. Okay, half of the ice cream bars, half of the calories are between 182 and 319. And remember, we did that when we did the inner quartile range, which is in this case 319 minus 182, and that is 137. So what we have here is half of the ice cream bars calories are 137. Okay, and you notice that the median is a little closer to the lower part of the box. Okay, now see the median line here, it's closer to the lower part of your box here. So that means the lower calorie counts, they're more concentrated, and the calorie counts above the median are more spread out. See, these are more concentrated here, these are more spread out up here. And that tells us that the distribution is kind of skewed toward the higher values. Remember, skewed left and skewed right. Okay, so this tells us it's skewed more towards the higher values. And we also know that the upper whisker is longer than the lower whisker. See, this upper whisker is longer than the lower whisker, which emphasizes skewness towards the higher values. Okay, and so that's it. That's box and whisker plot. And now let me say this: I drew this vertical. Okay, now I know some textbooks will draw it horizontal, and you can do that. You can draw your box and whisker plot horizontal. See, we can start here at 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, and 450. And what you would do is, we've got our Q1 and Q3 is at 182 and 319. So we got 182, we've got 319. You just draw your box like this above it. There's 182, there's 319. The median is 221.5. 221.5 about right in here, 221.5. The lower value is 111. The upper value, the highest value is 439, which is about right there. That would be 439. And there's your box and whisker plot drawn horizontally. Okay, so it's the same process. Okay, it's the same thing. So I don't know how your teacher wants you to draw it. Personally, if you're in my class, I don't care. In class I'll show you to draw it vertically, but and I may show horizontally. I don't know, but that's your options there. Some books show them both ways. Some books show them horizontal, some vertical. But that's box and whisker plots. So I hope this video helped. Check out my other videos. Give me a like, share, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next one. Later.